more and more things in our lives are like out of our control. And that is creating pushback kind of emotionally, intuitively in us to want to get more control of our lives. And we do that with independence, self-reliance, and security. So along with this whole, techno-glitzy, sophisticated, life that surrounds us all the time, more and more of us are feeling like, well, can I take more of this control back and be more self-reliant and secure in my food, in my energy, in my housing, in my health, in my finances? These are all things that seem to be spinning out of control in a time of disturbance and unknowingness about the future. There's a huge push to come back, and I get that, and that's what's driving this whole, homestead farming, self-reliant idea. And so many of us are realizing that rather than pumping more money into a 401k or a Roth or buying gold and burying it in the backyard, what we really need to be doing is leveraging our equity into skill, know-how, and relationships. Practical knowledge, knowing how to do things, skill at being able to do those things, and relationships as being non-physical value that's even more valuable than anything else. Which means then that I want to surround myself with what I call a community of expertise, a community of mastery. And this would be a community of people that knows how to grow things, repair things, build things. We want to be one of those people that knows how to grow things, repair things, and build things. And we want to be surrounded by people who also know how to grow things, repair things, and build things, because none of us can know everything. That becomes an extremely resilient neighborhood, if you will, a neighborhood of mastery. The goal is about reducing our vulnerabilities, that's the negative part, but embracing a very positive can-do ability to survive and thrive even if the stock market crashes, even if hyperinflation kicks in, regardless of who's in the White House or who's in Congress. That's the idea. How do we rebuild this kind of self-reliance, independent kind of thinking? And one of the biggest problems when people come to want to go to a self-reliant, independent, resilient kind of homestead lifestyle is they bring too many trappings of the city, too many trappings of expectation with them. This whole thing is about being frugal, about protecting and opting out of cash. When our college mates were all buying and going into debt to buy a car, I bought a $50 car. All right, we drove it for 2 years. At the end of 2 years, it threw a rod in the engine, and I sold it for $75 to a guy for parts. That's the way I like to buy cars. You sell it for more than you bought it for. But what we did do was we invested in a few little fire sites and picnic sites and campsites around the farm, near a creek and a little grove of woods that we could go to and create commas in our life. Are you coming to this thinking that in 10 years you want to actually replace your town job or your off-farm income? Do you want to actually farm commercially? Or is this just to do some backyard gardening, some herbology, and some canning? Those kinds of scale discussions need to come around into what your expectations are. And so as you begin, going through these different expectations, just remember that experience is your greatest asset. You're going to be, you can't Google experience. You have to go through it. And your first tomato is not going to grow well. Your first chicken maybe not going to lay well. You're going to have these failures. And so my advice is always, if you're thinking this way, well, start living this way. Start cutting the entertainment budget. Start already doing things where you are so that you can start getting this mindset of self-reliance and opting out of the orthodox narrative and reducing your dependency on these other things in your life. So you can prove to yourself, yeah, I've got what it takes, my marriage has what it takes, my family has what it takes. And then finally, protect your next nest egg. Don't jump off the cliff. Don't do anything completely stupid or rash. Just just hold on to that nest egg. When Teresa and I came back to the farm full time, we had saved up enough to live for 1 year. Now, I thought we were going to go through it and end up having to go off the farm for other work again. We never did, because we were here for every calf that was born, every tomato that needed weeded, and every time we needed to pick the green beans. And so by being here, we were able to be more efficient, have less wastage, less issues, more timely functioning. But that nest egg gave us the courage to make that break. These are things to think about as you begin wrestling with the ramifications of an independent homestead existence.